Hi, so I thought I'd do something a bit different today, a little kind of rundown of my little business. So how I've kind of got to this point and where I am, how I started, yada yada. I feel like it seems a bit weird to be doing it on YouTube because I've only just really joined YouTube and started it. But I have been doing Carrot and Parsnip, the bag making, for actually 3 years. It doesn't feel like that long because nothing really happened for maybe the first year and a half, and then everything happened after that year and a half. So it feels like everything happened really quick, but maybe it didn't. Anyway, hopefully it'll only be like 10 minutes. So I'll start from the top. Actually, in case anyone doesn't know, my business is basically making bags out of recycled fabric, and I do a kind of a little drop of bags that I've made every month on Etsy. So that's kind of my business. So when did I start? So I was kind of that actual classic cliche of someone who had just had a baby, and then I kind of needed something that was my own to do, like that wasn't to do with nappies or whatever. I had like loads of vintage fabric, and I'd made a drawstring bag for myself, which I absolutely loved. So I started making them, and I think I was thinking, oh, I'll put these on Etsy. I'd had some success with Etsy during the lockdown when I was selling face masks. I mean, they flew off the shelf then because obviously that was kind of the only place you could buy them, and I just thought Etsy was this amazing place where you listed something and it sold. Turned out to be not quite the case. So for a period of time I was just weirdly making these drawstring bags as if it was my job. I think because my job before it was a costume maker, and so I was quite used to sewing as a job, so it was kind of, I was doing it in a kind of production line-y kind of way, and it was quite weird. I think my partner was a bit worried about me. I was just making drawstring bags kind of by the bucket load. I didn't have Instagram, I wasn't listing them on Etsy, so it was a bit weird. But I think in my head, because of my previous success with the face masks, I thought, well, when I put these on Etsy, it would be good to have a stock of them, because when I put them on Etsy they'll all go and then I can make some more. So anyway, I think at some point I finally took some quite awful pictures of them, put them on Etsy, and tumbleweeds, obviously. So that was that. I think for a little while I just kind of was like, oh yeah, then I got caught up for a little while making, because I'd made hair scrunchies off of the side cuts of these drawstring bags. There was always like a long strip, and then I put them on Etsy. They did start selling on Etsy. And for a little while, so then I was like, oh, I'll make hairbands and this and that. I never really wanted to make those things, but because they were selling, I made them, and because I was posting them, I got into this thing of like selling hair stuff when I didn't really want to. Anyway, I think cut to a little bit later, I made a bum bag. That was really nice. I then got Instagram as well, but I wasn't very good at it for a very long time. I didn't get it. I'd never had it before for even personal use. So that was also a tumbleweeds. Everything was tumbleweeds at the beginning. I think that's kind of normal though. So yeah, made the bum bags. At some point I thought, I've got to get rid of all of this hair stuff because it's putting me in a hair category when I want to be in a bag thing. I want to make bags. So I just took everything to do with hair stuff off. I was actually making a load of random stuff like baby big, random stuff. Face wipes, yeah, random. Took all of that off, decided to concentrate on bags, which actually was a really good move, I think. So I think at some point, actually, around here, I'd gone back to work for 2 days a week, looking after my baby for the other 3. All of this time I was making the bags and stuff, like when he had naps and stuff, which was fine, and it was good for me to have that to do, actually. It was a bit of a routine, and you know, it meant I wasn't just doing housework and then looking after baby and then doing housework. Another cliche, you know, felt like I had a purpose, whatever. Cringe. So where are we at? Yeah, so I was working, I was making some bags in the meantime. I was giving some stock to those little independent gift shops, and I'd done some really poorly thought out markets, like at the local farm. Not the best place to do a market store. These 2 things I just felt like were a lot of effort and for no real gain to me. And I think in my head I had decided, I decided that I wanted to do everything on the internet, i.e. Etsy. I hadn't really thought that Instagram, I hadn't really thought of that as a thing yet. Although I had an Instagram account, it was very much, I was posting a very boring picture. The same 7 people were liking it each time, that kind of thing. I think after doing this one market I did where I sold like more than I'd ever sold over a weekend in Etsy. However, it was 2 days long. I think I'd sold £220 worth of bags, which seems quite all right. And everyone in the market was kind of saying, oh wow, you've done really well. And I was thinking, yeah, like I feel like I've done really well. But I've spent £130 to be here for the table, and let's say it's 2 days work. If I went to work, that would be another kind of £200 plus. So let's say we're at £350 down at this point, and then I've made £200, and I'm still working at a loss for that. And then let's consider all the time I've spent making the bags that I've sold. Do you know what I mean? I was kind of like, I don't think this is going to work for me, because I have a job that I could do during the week, and I would have to do every weekend, and I can't really not only not make money, but make a loss every week, and it's not fair on my family. At that point, I ruled markets out, and I thought, I've got to crack this internet thing. So I did what I think I always knew what I had to do, is put my face to my Instagram and talk about my own work. That was probably about a year, like just over a year ago. And the difference was quite significantly, quite straight away. In fact, I think the next weekend I did some very awkward videos where I spoke about my bags, and woke up the next day to find that 2 of them had sold more than I'd ever sold before, to someone who'd just added me on Instagram, followed my shop on Etsy and bought 2 bags. So I was like, okay, that works, you know, I can't argue with that. I think that was just like, okay, well, this is what I've got to do now, really. And then I actually started to really enjoy it, from not wanting to do it with every morsel of my being, hating my voice, just not happy about this at all. I didn't tell anyone at work what I was doing, because that was just mortifying. It was mortifying enough. Deleted all my friends from following me on Instagram, obviously, before I even posted the first picture. I mean, I'd never even posted a picture of myself on the internet before, so it was quite a leap, I tell you that. Anyway, I don't know, it probably only took a few months before I actually started to enjoy it, because I started to receive engagement and comments from people, and that just made it feel like, oh, kind of, you know, like I don't know, do you know what I mean? No. There was a back and forth with people that it just made it so much easier, rather than you posting something and not really knowing who it is that's liking it or something like that, you know, because it felt like I was getting to know my audience. I didn't have a clue who my audience was before any of this, really. I thought it was different to who it was, for sure. Anyway, so at this point, things really picked up on Instagram. And when I was putting these bag drops out, they were selling out, which was unbelievable. Like, I've had tumbleweeds up until this point. And then it kind of just switches to every month I'm putting up. It was only like 2 bags, maybe 2 to 4 bags max, but they were selling out, and it was like crazy. To go from nothing to that, it was quite crazy for me anyway. I was feeling excited. I was thinking, oh, I was really enjoying myself at this time. This was about, let's say, Christmas last year, so 1 year ago. And for the next few months, my Instagram just grew. The comments were, you know, rolling in. People seemed to be enjoying it. I was enjoying it as well. It was all good, apart from the fact that I was still working my old job and looking after my son, so it was still very much like the making, not only of the bags, but then of course the videos, editing the videos. All of that was kind of in like bits of time, like editing on the tube, making in the evening. It was quite tight, going to work, having to keep on top of the house, so I kind of sound like a bit moaning. It was just quite full on, and I was starting to get really tight. I couldn't really focus at work that much as well, because my head was thinking about bags as I was trying to be making costumes. It was all getting a bit hairy, actually. That's something I had to give. But I mean, the thing is, obviously, this job that I have making costumes in this studio, we were making costumes for all of the West End and ballets and stuff, like really cool stuff. The people I worked with were nice. Like, I actually really liked my job a lot. It was what I'd trained to do at university, and I'd been working there, you know, 5, 6 years. And all of a sudden it came to this point where I was like, gonna have to quit. And bear in mind, I have not told anyone about my Instagram account, which was weird, because by this point it had gone viral a couple of times. So it was like, I was scared when seeing these views racking up for videos, and random people from kind of my past, or people who I'd known or met before, like adding me from a certain video and being like, oh my God, Anna, what's going on here? I was thinking, oh my God, if they're they found me, people from work might find me, and I'm too mortified to. So I was having that bit of weird anxiety about that, thinking, am I going to have to tell them? But as soon as I tell them, I'm going to have to leave because I can't. It sounds really weird, but I can't make these videos of myself and then go into work. I was too embarrassed. Basically, I went into work one day because I was self-employed. It wasn't kind of a you have to give notice or anything. And I kind of said to the woman I was working for, I'm going to need a bit of time off because I was, things were getting on top of me a bit. And then I felt obliged to kind of tell everyone what I was doing, and that was that really. That was the last day I went into work. Quite weird, bit of an anticlimax, bit weird. But anyway, that was that. So so that was that. So then since this April, it has been my full, part-time job, which has just been crazy. It's been my only source of income. I've had to as well pay childcare, so I've had to earn income from it, which was the reason I think I was staying at my old job for so long, even though I was really tired, was because at the very least I had to earn childcare, enough money for the childcare. So to all of a sudden be in this position where you have to earn that yourself, there's absolutely no guarantee you're earning even a single penny each month. It was really weird, but anyway, had a really successful summer. Everything's going really well on Instagram. So then end of August I decided to start a YouTube channel, and it was because I was getting so many requests for the patterns, the sewing patterns that I made for my bags, which I was happy to share. I just didn't have a clue how to kind of do it, and I knew I'd have to do tutorials because to write instructions alone, I wanted people to make good bags from them, do you know what I mean? And I thought instructions, no, that's not going to work. So then I started YouTube, and I kind of got caught up in this thing of you have to post a video every week on YouTube. To be honest, that ended up kind of crippling me, because where I had by this point 3 days to work, I thought I'll do 1 day on YouTube, 2 days on my bag making. 1 day to film me making a whole bag, let's say, then to edit the video and to do all of those bits. It wasn't enough, and it always went to 2 days. And then I didn't have any bags to make for Instagram. I hadn't made any posts for Instagram. That slipped off the kind of face of the earth a little bit. And I mean, to be honest, I wasn't getting paid, and I still am not getting paid anything from YouTube. So, and I don't know how much you even get paid when you do start getting paid. So I just said to myself, after maybe a couple of months, I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but I kind of couldn't let everything else slide. I was enjoying it, but then I started kind of not enjoying it, and I thought, well, that's not going to make good videos anyway. Me not making a video for the sake of making a video, no one's going to want to watch that anyway. So I kind of had to say, from now on, actually, I'm going to use YouTube to do the tutorials for the patterns, which is initially what it was for, and then perhaps the odd other video that I want to do, that's much better. So that's here up until this point. I feel like this has actually been really boring. But to be honest, I've not got any friends who are doing this or doing this kind of thing or anything, so nobody gets it. Do you know what I mean? Everyone who has a normal job and they go to work in an office or something, that don't really get someone who sits and kind of makes bags and makes little videos and stuff. So it's quite nice actually just to kind of get this off all of my chest. Hopefully one person can relate to anything I've said. Anyway, where are we at? So that brings me to now. So I am planning on spending the year getting into a rhythm, because it kind of has been, as soon as I've got into a tiny little bit of a rhythm, so with bag making and Instagram, where it feels I can comfortably, sustainably keep level, I decide to whop something massive in, the patterns and the tutorials and the YouTube, which just floors me again. So this year is gonna be trying to keep a steady thing going, basically. Steady thing with making the bags. I'm really excited because I'm gonna do more of a themed collection every month, which I'm more excited to design about, rather than making any bag I feel like whenever I feel like it. That can get a bit jumbled. Still going to keep releasing the pattern, because seeing other people making the bags, their own bags from my patterns, has actually been the best thing that's happened probably this year. That's been really, rewarding? Yeah, definitely enjoying that. So That's it, really. If you've got this far watching this, then wow, basically, because that was a lot of rambling. But thank you. Hope you've had a really good year, and I'll see you next year. Thanks for watching.